Hi everyone, Professor Snart here, just checking in before spring break. It's Friday, a little chilly outside, but not too bad. So we just have finished up Unit 4, and I'm going to look through that. Again, Unit 4 began with some common errors from Unit 3, but Unit 4 is really crucial because it gives us really good examples of, and we're looking in pretty specific detail at exactly the kind of essay that we'll be writing for this class, the literary analysis essay. So you're looking at a sample, or you have looked at a sample for this past unit, Unit 4, and also done a short quiz, again just drawing your attention to some of the specifics of tone and style, things about citation, just basics like that. Again, there's also a discussion of thesis statements, which are so crucial. You know, having a good essay really depends on having an appropriate thesis statement. And for us, they're a particular kind of thesis statement, sort of that interpretation of a literary work, not a general thesis about an idea or an issue or that kind of thing. The structure of the argument works the same way. You make a claim and then support that with evidence, but the kind of claim and kind of evidence that we're using are a little bit particular to the reading and the study of literature. So it's important to understand that, and again to see it in action in some of the examples early on. We'd also then looked at elements of the essay, again just basics as far as introductions, body paragraphs, what constitutes a primary and secondary source, just some of the fundamental things before we move into some of the other writing assignments. And so I will click into my due dates here. So we've just finished up Unit 4, Thursday, March 25th was the due date for that, which was yesterday. And then we have spring break, and then we come back, and because of the schedule that we're on, we end up having the Monday, April 5th, as the due date for Unit 5. So despite having the week off, we really kind of don't, because of the nature of our course being the second 8-week. It's hard to account for that entire week off. So we do have a fairly quick turnaround time if you don't count all of spring break. But Unit 5 is fairly manageable, so it shouldn't present too many problems. There's two basic parts to it, in addition to some quiz stuff, some readings that you're doing, and some video tutorials to watch, which are really important, so be sure you pay attention to those. The two pieces that you're working on primarily for this unit then are a summary and a reaction, or a response to one of the short stories called Boys and Girls by Alice Munro. It's a really interesting story about, you know, gender roles and how people sort of are nurtured into those, but also maybe fall naturally into those, and that whole debate about whether we're born a certain way or we're taught to behave a certain way, and maybe a combination of those two things together. But ultimately, what you want to show then is the summary piece is a written summary of the story. It's nothing more. It's not interpretation or your opinion. It's just summary. So as objective as you can be, with proper citation in the paper, so page numbers following quotations, and also a proper works cited page. So the video tutorials in this section here will kind of guide you through that. There's also a number of resources in the MLA citation links area to help you get that MLA citation part of your writing correct. That whole citation thing is kind of a pain, but it is hugely important for English 1102 as the sort of research class. So it's a major component of that whole research piece. So in addition to the summary then, which is just the objective summary of the story, you also have the opportunity to respond through a discussion board. Here is where you can provide you know, your response or your opinion about the story, if it's good, if it's bad. And again, either one of those reactions is fine as long as they're supported with detail. So even if you really didn't like the story, that's a perfectly valid reaction. But we're interested to know why you didn't like it. Is it a matter of the pacing or the style, or some of the characters maybe? Although it's possible to dislike a character but to still like a story. There's lots of movies that we see where it's a really good movie but you really despise some of the characters. Maybe you're supposed to. So the main thing that I want to see in this unit from people is, in addition to getting that MLA stuff correct, the works cited and the in-text citation, is to really see that you get the difference between the summary as the very objective, just reporting of what happens in the story, your ability to sort of pull the important details, and then in the response, the much more subjective or evaluative piece of writing that you're doing. So think of those two things as very different. In some ways, our essays are kind of a combination of those, so we ultimately bring them back together. Not too much summary and not too much just your opinion, but kind of those two things, so your interpretation then supported with details or kind of summary from the story. So they're separated out for this unit, but we'll actually be bringing them together for the essays that we're writing in the future. In fact, if you go back and look at some of the sample essays from our textbook, it's interesting to think about how they are combinations of sort of summary or detail, but also evaluation or interpretation of the story. Okay, so I hope everybody has a great spring break and takes some time off, and then we'll see you back again in, I guess, just a little over a week now.